And Richard, we have another guest joining us for InfrOS, I believe. And
Excellent. Guy
yes,
is on.
that's Guy Brodetzki from InfrOS.io. Hello, Guy, and sorry if I'm unable to pronounce your full name. Really sorry for that. But over to you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, wait. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I had two channels. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm
So
good.
you
I'm
give
good. I'm
us your
back.
quick intro and tell us how to pronounce your name as well.
Well, you're not special, just so you know. Okay, so I get this a lot. So my name is Guy Brodetzki. Okay, I'm with InfrOS. Okay, I'm head of US operations for InfrOS. InfrOS is a startup, an Israeli startup. What we do is we design bespoke, optimal IT infrastructures. Could be in the cloud, could be multi-cloud, could be hybrid or on-prem. And we do that using obviously AI, but also real optimization algorithms like all time, actually solving capacity planning equations, like a real optimization, multidimensional, optimizing for whatever is important for the customer. It could be cost, could be performance, could be resilience, availability, security, I hope deployment complexity, probably so 7 different dimensions. And we do that in a holistic fashion. So you get to the real optimal point. So it's not just like a boilerplate architecture for SaaS, for example. Okay, you're doing SaaS, so this is how you should do it. We actually optimize it for you, for your specific needs.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Richard, over to you now if you have some questions.
Yeah, so a question for Adrian and also for Guy. Let me start with you, Adrian, first. What's kind of the latest that that you're hearing from customers in this sort of security space? Are we still hung around sort of DevSecOps and things like that, or what's kind of the latest in that area? Because there's this whole sort of AI thing is coming in. We're rapidly uploading that into Kubernetes without a single thought for any kind of security layers and things like that. What are you hearing from customers? What's the latest?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, what I hear a lot about at the minute is actually platform engineering. So that's a lot of the teams that we talk to are actually trying to sort of develop internal platforms and trying to figure out how to have security there from the start. But yeah, definitely AI is, it's always there. Some people seem to do it better than other ones. What I do hear a lot about is some people are starting to look at running the LLMs like in-house, having their own LLMs. I think that's probably for certain companies, that's the smartest way to go. Otherwise, one thing that you really have to do is like do a deal with your ChatGPTs or your Anthropics so they don't train on your own data. Because I guarantee you, your engineers are using this stuff right now. And you don't want them to be training on your internal data. So yeah.
Excellent. And Guy, for you, I'm just trying to kind of as a CTO, I always have to position people and kind of pigeonhole all the solutions for my customers so that they can kind of get a good understanding of where things fit into the whole bigger picture. So I'm trying to I had a look at kind of what you guys do and kind of where you are. Are you kind of in that continuous profiling space? I don't know if you've kind of heard of that sort of approach in terms of sort of code optimization and things like that. Is that something that you guys touch on?
Yes, but not on the code level. It's more of a higher level. So imagine you come, whatever your company, right, and you say, hey, I want to optimize my cloud. Okay, so we have a platform essentially. You put in your information. We have our very in-depth knowledge of the cloud providers and also some hybrid and on-prem solutions, and then we have a multi-layer algorithm that will optimize. We create a bespoke, optimized, like I said before, like an optimized architecture for you, and give you a Terraform code with guardrails and notification mechanism within it. Okay, and you can deploy it. And now, once it's deployed, every time you will hit one of those of the limits, at some point you'll get.
We lost.
because you keep deploying code, you keep doing new. Wait, sorry, I'm back. Okay,
Yeah,
I was
yes,
doing this. Okay, anyway, you keep deploying new features, probably spinning up new machines and whatever. You do new stuff, so you need to keep update your architecture. So we'll get you optimized and keep you optimized. So in that sense, it's similar to like continuous optimization, like you mentioned before.
Right. Okay, but it's not. Is it kind of is it surfacing and exposing a lot of that stuff up to like a FinOps tool or like a sort of a Flexera or something like that?
No.
Okay.
No. We're what
you can
think of us.
You're doing it in real time.
So not exactly real time, but you do get like an email notification about if something happens, but we are not invoking like a run automatically. Okay, you just get notified. Hey, you need to think again about what you're doing now, right? We're not proactively doing things. Okay.
But is it like you're kind of deliberately going after those sort of that resource utilization in order to optimize the kind of the operation, or is it actually you're optimizing for cost? What's the kind of so it's kind of, in other words, is the cost kind of a byproduct of what you guys are doing? If you kind of save the resource here,
can you see my shirt here? We say so. Anyway, our slogan is, "It's the architecture, stupid," right? I mean, you could get a FinOps. I mean, I just came back from KubeCon. Okay, so you see a bunch of firms telling you, yeah, we can we will reduce your cost by doing X and Y. You need to install our app, blah blah blah. But what we think, and I mean, we reduce cost on average by 43%, right? But it's only by just design the right architecture for you. Don't take premium storage if you don't need it. Okay, don't use. You could use spot instances if you don't need. If you don't need reserve. It's kind of. I know it sounds very, very simple, but you will be surprised about that, right? So we're not necessarily we don't. So if you design correctly, you'll get lower cost, obviously. But it's important to say we are not a FinOps tool, okay? So we optimize. If you tell me that this is what's important for you is cost, then yes, we'll optimize for cost. But you could optimize for performance, resilience, like I said before, availability, etc.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I think that's why I was trying to make the distinction as to which side of that sort of coin you guys are on, because sometimes, I mean, it's advantageous, I think, to have both capabilities. You're essentially, like I said, as a byproduct, just like hopefully Polar Signals, which we're going to have on later on today. I think they have a stand at the showcase area, so they're kind of doing something similar, but as I said, kind of in the code space. So again, they're looking to optimize code, but they're as a byproduct of that is actually a sort of a cost saving as well, because they're saving on the cloud resource and so on. So I think it's just important to kind of try and distinguish that, which I was kind of trying to really understand from you. Excellent, Adrian. Back to you for another question. What's kind of the latest with ChainGuard? Where are you guys kind of going? What's sort of some of the things that you're working on?
Yeah, so the major sort of new thing is library product. That's what we're trying to build, the NPM libraries, everything from source. So if you think about like the recent NPM incidents, quite a lot of infrastructure attack, what will happen is a maintainer is compromised, and they use that maintainer's credentials to upload like a new blob to the NPM or PyPy or whatever. And the problem is that blob, or the interesting thing is that blob probably doesn't match the sources. Like the sources on GitHub are still okay. It's just that they've used this pack or whatever to upload a malicious version. So at ChainGuard, one of the things we do is we build everything from source. So you immediately cut out, that attack. And of course, we run some other malware identification things on it as well.
Yes, I think go back to the Adrian once here as well. I think, Adrian, can you give us a little bit about the adoption rate, or any things you have been noticing, because the ChainGuard images is quite been quite heavily been adopting these days. It's not just the companies, but the other open source project has been utilizing the chain guard images as well. So the adoption rate is currently spiking up as well. So can you give us a quick updates around number one, for the people really new to the chain guard images, what the chain guard images are, and how much the rate you are actually spiking up in terms of the usage, or any new updates or any new technologies changes happen in that space as well?
Yeah. So we renamed it actually from chain guard images to chain guard containers because we also have VM images and we didn't want the confusion. But yeah, you're right. Like there's a lot of users, I mean, all our customers are enterprise, but we're also selling to smaller companies as well now. We reworked the pricing. So as there's now subscription pricing. So you can like get a subscription to like a whole, the majority of our images all together rather than buying individual images. Custom assembly is probably like the area that we've been looking at and working on recently. So that's the idea that we will build like a customized version of our images inside our like Salsa hardened software factory and keep it up to date. So if you need like I don't know, a Redis image, but you also need like curl and I don't know, get in there for whatever reason, we'll do that. We'll build that. We'll make sure it's always up to date and always for your CVs. And then you can pull that directly, and you don't have to do the work of doing a Docker build yourself and adding in those tools yourself today.
Yes, absolutely. I think recently I actually asked some of the AI agent in the Cloud Code, here's my file. Let's build an optimized version of my Docker file as well. And one of the things is recommended to me to replace my base images to the chain guard images as well. So it's not just me, but the other tooling is also being quite aware of it as well. Just a quick question to the InfrOS side of things as well. I think in the last KubeCon, we heard a lot of the enterprises talk about observability, take some actions. So people said, oh, if you are actually just sending me some alerts or some optimization tactics to me, and then ask me to verify those, it's going to be a still task for the developer. And sometimes developer, to be honest, they won't look at the alert messages or what's the Slack alerts to me as well. So in the InfrOS space, are you guys looking in the near future to point out to the customer by re-architecting the remediation design for that? Once it's been providing the suggestion, and one it's been pinpointing the remediation step for them as well. Is there something you are looking into adding into the new capabilities?
So I think we should look at it from a different perspective. Actually, we are not one more tool to add to your stack. Okay, essentially we actually replace. You could say that we replace like 40 tools. Okay, okay, because again, if you design it correctly, you don't need so many FinOps tools and all those like local optimization. Okay, if you actually I'll keep saying it, but we are like a real optimization tool in the sense that you have an algorithm scanning the full space. Okay, and if you design it correctly, and a human cannot do that. Okay, that's one of the reasons when I walked around KubeCon, I saw so many booths of companies optimizing, this and that, and all of them are good, and all of them will do like tens of percent, like 40% reduction in cost, 30% faster deployments. But it's only because everything is so complex, right? Then obviously, everywhere you look at, you could optimize, right? We just okay, you know what? Let's take a step back, optimize everything together. Tell me what you want to do. I'll optimize everything for you together, okay, with one tool instead of getting like a plethora of tools. And now you pay all of those subscriptions, and also you need to start installing and versioning and all that. Okay, we are taking a step back, solving everything together. So we do get notification. I mean, you could use an observability tool if you really want to know what's going on. Obviously, you probably should. But you don't need the other tools, okay? And also just like a figure I like giving. If you look at the hyperscalers, each of them has probably like 10,000 SKUs, right? So you have this CPU, that CPU, this GPU, that GPU, 10 different kinds of storage. Each of them has anywhere between 10 and 100 fields, right? A human being cannot. One more thing, and you can connect them, and it will work, right? I can connect me, like Guy, who is not so technical. Right? By the way, I did it. I can connect a CPU with S3 and some networking, right? It will work, and then at the end of the month, I'll get an invoice, and I say, "Oh my God, it actually costs a lot of money." Okay, and I thought it's free, right? By the way, it's a real story. Okay, so if you now think about something more complex, it's just a human being cannot actually create a bespoke, optimal architecture for your needs, because every company is different. Okay, even an e-commerce here is not the same as an e-commerce there. And SaaS here is not the same as a SaaS there. And what I really like about our solution is that e-commerce, SaaS, AI cloud, whatever your use case is, all of them are possible solutions coming out from our engine, right? Because we have this long list of like a multi-layered algorithm with actual equations we solve for, right? And all of those architectures are possible solutions for that equation, right? So we can service all of those use cases with one tool, essentially, right? We're not an optimization tool for SaaS. We're an optimization tool for whatever IT infrastructure you have.
Yeah.
That
I was
sounds
going
very
to, so I was just going to bring in Sarah, just kind of get her view on both of these areas, and whether, Sarah, you're kind of hearing this from customers as well. Are they even aware of stuff like what, the likes of Adrian and Guy's sort of organizations, actual vendor sort of space is doing on these things?
I think to a certain extent. So I know that ChainGuard, and also because I know a lot of really good people who are at ChainGuard currently, a lot happening in that space. And I think, trying to understand how do you integrate security as early as you can into a platform. The reason of having an engineering platform being that you want to abstract out as much of the complexity as possible for your day-to-day dev teams and reuse components in a way that, makes sense and is cost efficient and just easy to use. And then in terms of what do I build, how do I build it, I think it makes a lot of sense what you're saying, Guy, that they need some guidance in terms of what do I do, how do I do it. And it's really easy to, I think, to make fun of people, myself included, where you hook things up in a way that seems completely illogical. But if you don't know what you're doing and you've never seen it before, and this is your first kind of stab in the dark at something like this, then it's really easy to make mistakes like that. There's a reason why you build teams with people who come from different perspectives and look at things differently. It's because, they'll expose things like this and expose things, in a way that maybe you haven't thought about. And so making sure that they have some of the guidance, especially if it's their first time around, to be able to put these things in play becomes hypercritical. And it's really easy to end up with a cloud bill that's just, astronomical. And I joke frequently, I get a monthly AWS bill for 43 cents, and I have no idea where it comes from. I've been through my accounts. I don't know how many times, I've used Terraform to tear everything down. It's still there. It's been there for years now. So now I'm like, okay, well, that's my contribution to AWS.
It actually reminds me that typically when I ask CIOs I talk with, what's your cloud spend? And all of them will tell me, I need to look at the invoice. I don't know, because, it goes up and down, and, next month is not like last month. You never know, right? Yeah. And you have this spike you never planned for. That's another thing we do into the Terraform we give you. We inject these guardrails, so you will not be surprised. We actually reduce those surprises by like 80%. Okay, so you'll have budget compliance. Okay, so you will not get that. What? It's $200K a month. I plan for $100K, right? So,
yeah, or just the dev who goes in is like, I'm just gonna up the CPU, and nobody's gonna know, and nobody does know until the bill comes, and then when that bill is 500,000.
Sometimes you don't plan for that. You just have a spike in usage, and you didn't plan for it, right?
No, I don't think you ever plan for it.
Well, yeah, that's why it's called a surprise, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just one quick question before sometimes some of the listeners listening to us right now, and they go into the InfrOS website, and Like if some you know the companies are in always in a different phases. Some companies are moving from cloud to the cloud native way of saying, from VM to the container. Some companies has challenges on operationalizes challenges on container ecosystem. Some are actually moving into the AI side of the thing, making sure the stuff is running. So if somebody is just discovered today InfrOS, so
Mhm.
what sort of the customer is you're actually been hitting you most? And what was your onboarding experience to the customer one, regardless of which stack they are living in, regardless of which technology they have or not? What are the typical onboarding experience they have when they start using InfrOS?
So we have a few tens of customers, mostly in Israel, both public and private sector, and we've been. I want to say that many of them were experiencing difficulties in migrating from either an on-prem to a cloud solution, or from one cloud to another, or surprisingly they had very poor performance, and we could, let's just like one of the examples is for your use case, you might do exactly the same architecture, just do it in Azure, and you'll have a better performance, okay, at less cost, right? For example, so you need to know those things. So we actually, again, we have very different customers with very different use cases. And at this point we're it's my birthday today, and also it's the birthday of the company.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
So thank you. So it's 1 year. The company is 1 year old, and we already serve tens of customers, very different ones with very different use cases. Okay, and we're looking forward to expand into the US right now. The platform is about. We started as more of a services company with like with back office technology, and now we created that back office into. Thank you. And we created a back office technology. Now it's a self-serve platform. Okay, so we're actually looking forward to seeing how self-serve is it in the next few months.
Yes, absolutely. I think somebody listening to us, because they're really bit delighted, because as you mentioned, in the ecosystem we're living in, there's a lot of tooling. I think at least 6 or 7 tooling and in every infrastructure these days, and they
Yes.
have their own patches, their own releases, their own upgrades time. And sometimes it's work on some machine, some system, some configuration, some environment, other they don't. So they're really
Yep.
looking forward to some companies or some principle they really adopt to actually taken away from the tooling sprawl, because that's used in the ecosystem we live in. And
Right.
as you
Yeah.
know, if the developer hit into any new tool, they want to experiment with it. Like, oh, I want
Yep.
to do this, we don't want to do that. But in terms of how the business work, they need to understand how much the cost, how much the upgrade time, the onboarding time, that you need to take into the consideration. And sometimes you don't need to swap the technologies. It's been a little bit adjustment of the
Mhm.
infrastructure or the architecture that make your day worse from
Yeah.
the best one. So I think it's very good to hear from you. Just from a 1 year experience, it seems like a very good solution. So Richard, make sure we have to set our calendar for having some full-flash podcast with our guy, because it's been this
Definitely.
deserve a
Yeah. Well, definitely.
yes.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward. I'm looking forward for a full hour. I can show you a demo. It's gonna be great.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be awesome one. Absolutely.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Richard, any
Appreciate
So
final
everybody
thoughts?
heard. They promised a full hour. Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Give us a
Thank
big
you, guys.
hand.
We appreciate your time. It was nice to meet you and connect with you, and for you to spend some time with us today. It's been
Thanks
very
so much.
informative. Really appreciate it.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.